Piper, shut up.
Alrighty, good morning, everyone. I hope y'all are having a good day so far. I'm back for another live stream in a couple of days. It's been a lot going on. I tell y'all that. We had Hurricane Helene come in, and first off, I want to say my thoughts and prayers are with the people affected by Hurricane Helene. They've been constantly. The Gulf Coast has been constantly like tropical system after tropical system coming in, and um, all the tropical systems that have um, come through the United States are hurricanes, and that's just devastating for our country. And Helene doing record amount of rainfall in the United States across the Appalachian Mountains as well. It's just catastrophic, and I just pray for the people there in the Asheville, in the Appalachian Mountains, Eastern Tennessee, Virginia, Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and then into Florida with the record storm surge they had over in Cedar Key and points toward in Tampa and Clearwater Beach area. So I just want to come in and talk about why the Gulf Coast is on alert for another tropical system. That's I know all y'all know is that there's been a lot of chatter about Helene 2.0, and I just want to say this first off. Every storm is different. We still got to watch the Gulf of Mexico for future tropical development, but every tropical system is going to be different. Beryl was different when it hit Texas. Debbie was different when it hit Florida, and then Helene had its own story going on too. So every tropical system is not going to be the same as the first tropical system that makes landfall. Each tropical system is going to have a story of its own. So I just wanted to say that first off, and I just don't want y'all to be scared because people are hyping up things and saying, oh, there's going to be another Cat 3 hurricane hitting the United States. They have to look at, there's a lot of things that goes toward another Cat 3 hurricane and rapid intensification kind of system going into the Gulf. Not saying that will happen again, but what I'm saying is that you got to trust what sources you're following, because those sources feed off models and other past model runs that have already been passed, and they take those models and take them into fruition and say, oh, they're going to go for that one. But I just want y'all to trust y'all's local officials, the National Weather Service offices, when they put out their forecasts and what their discussions say. The National Hurricane Center is during tropical season. It's what you need to be following for local information. Not just me, but just for your life and protection. Just follow your meteorologists. I mean, they know what they're talking about. The meteorologists wouldn't be here just to be hyping things up. They're hyping things up because they want to protect y'all and keep y'all safe and not want y'all to lose your life because you choose one stupid decision and then it screws your life up. So that's all I'm saying. So let's get into this live stream. I just want to say that first off, because I feel like there's been a lot of scaring going on with the GFS model a few days ago showing a major hurricane into the Gulf, and now you saw the day after that, it showed not even a thing in the Gulf. So it showed like a tropical system, not even a tropical storm. So that's all I gotta say. Model runs change, and and then that's all I gotta say about that. So let's get into the live stream. Enough of the chat. Enough of that. So as you know, we do have an area of watch for the Gulf. We do have an area of interest over in the Gulf of Mexico. I mean, the Caribbean. I meant the Caribbean. So we have an area of interest in the Caribbean that we're going to be watching out for. 40% chance in the next 7 days, and they did up the percentage in the next 2 days at 10%. So there's a 10% that that there could be a development, tropical system that could develop, and a 40% that, the next 7 days there could be a tropical development. So what they say is disorganized showers and thunderstorms located over the southwestern Caribbean Sea are associated with a trough of low pressure. Environmental conditions could support some gradual development of the system, and a tropical depression could form towards the end of this week or this weekend, while it moves generally northwestward this week or over the northwestern Caribbean Sea and into the Gulf of Mexico. Interest along the U.S. Gulf Coast and should continue to monitor the progress of the system. So they're still putting us on alert here in the Gulf Coast. They're putting the Gulf Coast still on alert, which is really good, because you don't want to keep your eye. It's still hurricane season, and you still want to keep your eye out on this on the system. But let's go to the tropical model. So as you can see here, we have the system down here is where the low pressure is, right down here. So in the southwestern Caribbean. And as I go forward, you can see there's that system right here. We also got to watch out for these areas here down in the southwestern Gulf, near the Bay of Campeche. We could see maybe a gradual development. We could see a development across the Pacific here. 2 storms could develop in Eastern Pacific right after another. So we have to keep an eye on that as well. But you see, here's that system according to the GFS model runs, the 6Z model run from the GFS. And here is the showers, the lack of showers and thunderstorms coming across the Gulf of Mexico and this Bay of Campeche there. So as we head to Friday, that system now over Cancun and that area there, bringing rain to Florida and Alabama and maybe even Georgia and those areas there, bringing rainfall there. Then we go to, and then this is where we go to this weekend. We go to this weekend. Multiple showers and thunderstorms across the Gulf. Now you see here the GFS model doesn't show anything at all, like any low pressure at all. Maybe right here in the southwestern Gulf, and that's all. We have to keep an eye out on what this GFS model wants to do. So the GFS model doesn't want to form anything over here with that first system that moves through the area that the hurricane center is looking at. But then it wants to try to develop a tropical depression here across the southwestern Gulf. That can make a run for anything above here. That can make a run for Louisiana. It can make a run for Texas. It could just shoot northeastward toward Florida or toward the same areas that get affected by Helene. But we go forward here, you can see the GFS model is like fantasy model run. So you see some gradual development here, one here, and then it moves off, and then you can see what it does here. This is by Monday of next week. Now we're into next week. We see a tropical depression or storm forming there, and another area right here. So we could have 2 areas of possibility here. The GFS model is a 6Z model run. See, we could have maybe one development region here, but it shows a hurricane here over with this area that was forming in the southwestern Gulf, near the Bay of Campeche. So don't take the GFS model in for granted yet. It shows a low end Cat 1, Cat 2 hurricane heading the Florida Gulf Coast again. Don't take this right now for granted right now. Don't take this for fruition right now. This is still too far out. This is by next Wednesday, October 9th, y'all. So this is still a long ways out that we're going to know about this system. So whenever this happens, we don't have enough data. Well, we do have data, but we don't have a good general idea of where the storm's going to go. That's all I'm saying. So that is the GFS model. Let's go to the Canadian model here. Give me 1 second. Let me zoom out of here again. Let's go to Thursday of this week. The CMC model Let's look at what the CMC model run is wanting to show us. This is the Canadian model run. Okay, so we go to Friday. You go to Friday. It has that same general idea with the GFS model. It has a big area low pressure starting to form here in the southwestern Gulf. It has also that storm system coming out of the Caribbean heading into the Gulf here, and that will gradually try to develop if the conditions become right for it. And then this is by next Monday. Next Monday, the Canadian model has the same general idea with the GFS model, showing the area low pressure here, and then as it moves to the northeastward, it shows a tropical storm by next Tuesday. The GFS model is here. There's that. And then we go to next Wednesday at 1 o'clock. A hurricane, according to the Canadian models, it's the second model in a row that we've seen want to put out a hurricane over in the Gulf again. So there's a 983 millibar low pressure, and then you can see many of y'all are seeing this. Why is this getting weaker as it hits toward land? I'll show y'all the reason why. Why is because there's a lot of wind shear coming in from cold fronts that are coming through. So a lot of wind shear will inhibit intensification process. There's still a whole lot of warm water across the Gulf. There's still a whole lot of energy, but the wind shear is going to be a big key. So there's a lot of moisture, there's warm waters. That's all the things we need for a tropical system to develop. But the wind shear for rapid intensification is all it goes out to 240 hours out. Has some heavy rainfall hitting Florida, or the 993 low pressure, possibly a tropical storm / Cat 1 hurricane, according to the Canadian model. So let's go to the European model. European model has not done a really good job on tropical systems lately, I don't think. Personal opinion, I think it's done a better job with this one, I think. So we'll go to that. So let's go to the European model. The European model, we just go back, we go to Saturday. We have the European model wants that area of development from this Caribbean going all the way over here. So we have maybe a tropical depression, like the Hurricane Center has said, to form this week or this weekend, or late this weekend. And look what it wants to do. It wants to stall that area of interest across the Gulf. And then you can see out far out here, major Hurricane Kirk over here in the Gulf. I mean, I'm not Gulf, over here in the main development region. That is probably going to be one of the biggest hurricanes we've seen all year in the Atlantic season, like Helene was and Kirk now. So back to what I was saying. So it wants to stall this system out in the Gulf for Friday to maybe Sunday, into Sunday, and it still wants to form. It still doesn't form anything out of this area, and then it gradually moves toward Florida, southern Florida, as maybe a tropical depression. That's all. It's all of it from the European model. So there's a lot of things. That's why I say a lot of chatter is going on, because you don't want to see one model run and showing a Cat 3 or 4 hurricane in one model run, and then you want to go for it, and then you want to see another model run. It's not there no more. So that's why I say trust your local officials, trust your local National Weather Service offices, as well as the National Hurricane Center, because of this. Because of what the European model. So we have 2 models in a row. So just think of that right now. So just think of that. So let's go to why I'm saying conditions aren't right for for rapid intensification with this next storm. Okay, I'll go back to the 16 model run. So let's go to upper dynamics here. Go to the 500 millibar height here. I know this might look a little confusing to y'all, but I'll explain it all when I get through this. So you can see here, here's the maybe a ridge of high pressure here across most of the central and southeastern United States, but You see Kirk, maybe Kirk coming in, and you can see Kirk right here coming into the picture now. Now, let's change. I don't want to. The heights will be based off of this climatology. So you've got, oops, no. So let's go to, yeah, let's go to the wind shear. This is why. So the wind shear is going to be a big key. We have a whole lot of wind shear in place right now across the Gulf. The waters are warm, but they're not as warm right now. They're still warm enough to develop a storm. I'm not saying that. But you see these reds here. These reds are wind shear that are in place right now across the Gulf. And you see there's some wind shear here. That's why the system has not developed quickly as it was, that's why the system hasn't developed much over today. And you can see as we head toward the GFS model, it's still pretty enough wind shear here in the Gulf of Mexico for the system to maybe tap into. Maybe if a front comes through, it knocks that wind shear to the east here, and maybe does start to rapidly intensify. But that system, then you can see a trough coming in here. You can see a dip in the trough here, the dip in jet stream here. See that area of spin here in the Bay of Campeche and the Gulf of Mexico. So that trough will pick up that system that's in the Bay of Campeche here. So you see that trough here, the storm right here, and there's still wind shear there, y'all. So there's that trough system that coming out of here. It's now right here. So once that happens, we have enough wind shear that the wind shear will cut off or absolutely destroy any thunderstorms that tries to develop within that within the low right itself. So the wind shear prohibits thunderstorms from even forming in tropical season. So you need low wind shear, you need enough moisture, a lot of moisture, and you need warm waters for tropical development, for tropical or hurricanes to develop. So there's that. Here's some wind shear trying to feed into the system that the GFS model wants to put a 986 hurricane. But as you can see here, where it wants to go, there's not a lot of wind shear there. That's what worries me a little bit, is that the environment that might come back together and might have less wind shear here and here across the loop current of the Gulf is where Helene formed and then rapidly intensified as they hit Florida. So, and then we go forward here, and then you can see that wind shear. Now you can see that wind shear goes off to the east a little bit, but there's still enough wind shear that weakens it a little bit on the approach to Florida. It's wanting to do, and then as we go forward, cold front comes through, a high pressure starts to form, and then we could get a quiet period in the tropics again as we head into October. And then you see all those reds there showing all that wind shear that's in place. And then if the storm tries to head into there, it will absolutely demolish and not do anything, because there's a lot of wind shear in place in the Gulf of Mexico with the cold fronts that are coming through in the ridge of high pressure and then the jet stream. So I know that's a lot right there for you, but I thought I just break down why every storm is going to be different, because of the dynamics and then the environment that it's going to be going into. So if a storm's going into an area of a lot of wind shear, there's not going to be a lot of time for it to develop, even though it's warm waters and a whole lot of moisture with the storm. It's not going to rapidly intensify like Helene did when we didn't have wind shear. So when Helene formed, we had a lot of wind shear. Not a lot of wind shear. We didn't have a lot of wind shear. We had no wind shear at all, actually. And we had a lot of moisture, and it went into that loop current. And then when it went up toward the Big Bend here, a lot of people let their guard down because the forecast cone kept changing a little bit. And the National Hurricane Center put out, they might up it more because of the environmental conditions that it's in. So So every storm is different. That's all I gotta say. We still got to keep an eye on the U.S. Gulf Coast. Still needs to keep an eye on the system. Don't let your guard down at all whatsoever. If things change by this week or this weekend, I'll let y'all know. But be prepared. Don't be scared. Is all I gotta say. It's still hurricane season. We're still in the peak of hurricane season. This is still not over yet. Hurricane season doesn't end until until the beginning of November. So we got all October to deal with this. So we're like 26, 27% done with hurricane season right now. So we still got 27% of the hurricane season left, and systems could still come in and give us problems here in the United States and into the Gulf of Mexico. So that's all I got for y'all today. Y'all have a good rest of y'all's day, and I'll catch y'all later for another live stream, probably tomorrow or late tonight. Y'all have a good day. Bye, y'all.